Emma James is here on the other side of the studio with MediaWatch. Good to see you.
Hi there.
It looks like the latest on the White House is that the Democratic nomination is actually done and dusted. Is that actually the case?
Well, that certainly appears to be the case, but certainly Hillary Clinton, for one, is not taking it for granted. She doesn't think it's a done deal just yet. She spent all day tweeting all of her supporters, telling them to get out and vote. Things like this: retweet if you are ready to make history. An image of her smiling with the words, "I'm with her," which has been a very popular motto of hers during this campaign. And this one was in response to Associated Press were the first ones to declare that she had become the presumptive nominee because she had won enough delegate votes. And what she said to that was, "We're flattered, but we've got primaries to win." So she kept her message very clear that she still wants people to get out and vote, because the last thing she wants is for people not to bother. Because apart from anything else, she wants to be seen to be winning. Whether she needs to or not, it is a question of perception now. Taking a look at the front page of the New York Post, the end is nigh, they say, pointing out really that this has been an incredibly long race.
I love that Bernie Sanders grabbing her leg.
Exactly. He is hanging on with dogged determination. It is something that really has marked out this campaign and has been really quite strange, really, to many observers to watch. Many of Bernie's supporters still hold out hope that he can do the unthinkable almost. Tomorrow's California forecast, "Feel the Burn," is one of the popular hashtags that his campaigners have used. And you've got a laughing and smiling Bernie all across California, because it's a very close race there. And that's one that he could possibly take. And it is delegate rich. Now, if she does lose big there, it is embarrassing for her, even if it doesn't actually affect the final outcome. Looking elsewhere on Twitter, there is some controversy surrounding Bernie Sanders due to a rather strange exchange that happened at a press conference today. A New York Times journalist asked him, "What do you say to women who say that you staying in the race is sexist because you're standing in the way of what could be the first female president?" Well, we can take a listen now to exactly what his response to that question was.
Is that a serious question?
Yes, it is a serious question.
That any woman who is running for president, anyone who opposes your question implies that any woman, that any person, any woman who is running for president is by definition the best candidate. So any woman who runs.
But you would also have
to say that it is sexist that any. So if Hillary Clinton runs for president, is your point that it is sexist for any man to oppose her?
No, my point is that if she has more delegates than you tomorrow,
well, that's another point. That is not.
Sexist.
No, I don't think it is sexist.
So the woman asking the questions there was Yamiche Alcindor. She's been tweeting all day because, of course, there's been a lot of backlash to this one. She commented that he got testy when he was asked that question. But there's been a real mixed reception from people about that line of questioning. One Twitter user, "You embarrassed black journalists today." Really? Well, she made a lot of women proud. A lot of terrible women may be, says another user. And the original tweeter says, "I would have vomited if someone asked that of Hillary in 2008, i.e. her being racist for running against Barack Obama." On a similar theme, by that logic, one could argue Hillary Clinton is standing in the way of the first Jewish president in history. Absurd logic. And it is one that has raised a lot of questions. I think perhaps it wasn't the best way to word that particular question, but it has got people talking about it. Hillary Clinton herself, though, has chosen to be fairly subtle in saying that basically when she dropped out in 2008, which happened exactly 8 years ago to the day, she did it because it was the right thing to do. And I think she's hoping that history will repeat itself today.
Her message to Sanders, I expect. Now then, another big story today, incredulity over the rogue trader Jerome Kerviel. Marcus will back us up on this one, and his big payout for unfair dismissal. This is the man who cost Société Générale billions, wasn't it? 5 billion. There you go, 4.9 billion. I knew he'd know. Over to you.
Yes, it is one that people just simply cannot understand.
Unfair dismissal.
Exactly. And when you get the result of an industrial tribunal being hailed as a better joke, the funniest thing that one of Britain's greatest comedians has seen all day, then you know that perhaps this tribunal is on the wrong side of common sense. John Cleese of Monty Python fame has tweeted this: best joke tonight, Jerome Kerviel gets £350,000 damages for losing his bank £4 million. Now, lots of people pointing out it wasn't 4 million, it was 4.9 billion euros. It gets very confusing with the whole exchange rate thing. But anyway, yes, he missed quite a few zeros off there, rather important zeros. But what he said is you really can't write this stuff anymore. And it's true, lots of people just don't understand this ruling at all. This Twitter user, another journalist in France, losing 5 billion euros of your employer's money isn't enough to get fired. Kerviel wins 455,000 is the actual figure in damages. And you do have to wonder what you need to do to be permitted to be sacked in this country. Pierre Briançon, a journalist and writer for Politico Europe, says the Paris Labour Court is the laughingstock of the French justice system, saying that Société Générale's rogue trader was fired without cause, because one would think that losing 4.9 billion euros would be just cause. Some of the other reactions: I clearly have much to learn about French employment law, says this Twitter user. And Jean-Luc Mélenchon, left Parti de Gauche, party of the left, politician, has said, when is the bank going to pay back the 1.7 billion euros that was given without just cause by the state to that bank? And finally, this one harks back to 7 years ago when the original story broke. And it is a little cheeky. I hope it's not too rude. But it's resurfaced again today because it's just as relevant now. It is the former chairman of Société Générale addressing his shareholders. And what it says is our adverts based on the idea of a helping hand aren't really appropriate for the circumstances, so we'll use the finger.
Emma James, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much indeed, Emma James of MediaWatch.